What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. So let's get into what happened today. First off, every show is going to start out until the Epstein files are released. That we need to release the Epstein files. Point blank, period. Release them now. One of the things that bothers me about this is that you get people talking about they're Christians, like was it the speaker Mike Johnson? And I'm like, how are you calling yourself a Christian when you're not trying to even protect children? Vulnerable kids. You know that these people harm these women that are out there and you're protecting them and they know it. And what does that allow them to do? Continue to harm more children. These women are grown. Some of those men are probably dead because these women are like 30 something years old. They were 14 when it happened. They were grown-ass men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s at that time. They're damn near dead now. If not, many of them aren't. And you're telling me the ones who are still there, they're probably the young people still doing it, grown people, that you're willing to protect them in their name instead of protecting the young girls, which means there are more young girls. They didn't stop at these women. These women are different ages. I was 13, I was 14, I was 15, I was 16, I was 17, I was 21. They had a modeling agency. One of the things that you might want to kind of like consider is that any of these modeling agencies that have young girls in them, you might want to be checking the grown-ass men that are hanging around that shit. You might want to see that wherever they get invited to, those places, places in other countries and shit like that, they got to go on tour. What are they doing modeling at 13, 14-year-olds at somebody's home in another country or even here? Why are they even at those parties? If they're going to model, get a camera, get a studio, and get chaperones. Why the hell are they at these parties? Maybe that should give you some understanding that this is not supposed to be happening. But it is, and it's continuing to happen. We've had it in every industry. In the entertainment industry, it's called the casting couch. It's been going on. There are many people in jail right now from the movie industry that have done this to more than one, some just one. I remember the guy from that 70s show, the Masterson guy. He's in jail right now for doing this. And I think he did it to one person. I'm not sure if it was more than that, but he's in the jail for it. So you're trying to tell me that you just want to give them a pass. And Mike Johnson, I'm telling you, I understand how this man talks about he's a Christian. I don't get it at all, why these people think that they are somewhere in the vicinity of being a Christian, because anybody that sees children and decides not to protect them, you're a piece of shit human. 100%. And this is what Mike Johnson had to say, if I can get this up here today. And he said this a couple times. I think he said it on the Sunday show this past Sunday. But let's see if it shows up on this.
Do you think that he's going to succeed in getting the 6 signatures to force this vote?
I don't expect he will, but I mean, the whole effort has been mooted. It's not necessary anymore.
He said it's been muted and it's not necessary anymore.
Do you think that he's going to succeed in getting the 6 signatures to force this vote?
I don't expect he will, but I mean, the whole effort has been mooted. It's not necessary anymore.
Do you think that he...
How is it not necessary anymore? I don't understand how you can say that it's not necessary. Now, I understand one thing. He's going around here talking about it's not necessary because what they're doing is they're having some kind of meeting amongst themselves right now that will help this particular case to bring it forward. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Massey, MTG, Nancy Grace, and Lauren Boebert, they all know. And again, I can't believe I'm listening to the mega MAGA, because those are the ones, those are all of MAGA minus like Matt Gaetz. You know what I'm saying? It's like you believing in the same people who believe in Matt Gaetz, and he's one who did the same shit that his daddy got him out of. But regardless, they're covering up. The other people are covering up. These 3 on top of that Massey, the 4th person, they need 2 more. They're out there fighting for righteousness. It's not about Republicans, Democrats, even though Democrats are on the righteous side and Republicans are further off on some, let me cover up for everybody and their mama. It just shows that you're guilty of something. I mean, that's what it says to me. Why would you be afraid of it? What Mike Johnson is trying to say is that they're already working on something. But like I said, these four, no. What they're trying to do is the exact same shit that they did about the president's son. Put a committee together and make that shit last 2 years. We're working on it, see? We're bringing in this princess and the frog, and we brought in Bert and Ernie. We brought in a police officer and his canine. They're all out here trying to help. That's what they'll do. Bring everybody and their mama in front of the court that has shit to do with it. Bring on conspiracy theorists. Bring on people who are in jail that want to say anything. Anybody in the audience want to say something? We can get you on the stage. Come up here. Say something real quick. Hold a game show. Do everything in the fucking world before they get to the conversation. That's what they're trying to do. That's why Mike Johnson is saying, it's mute. We're working on it. No, you're working on extending it for fucking ever. That's what you want to do. He wants to hold hearings and shit about whether we should do it or we shouldn't do it. That is the train they're trying to get on. Thomas Massey, Lauren Boebert, MTG, and all the others, Nancy Mace, they know that's the train they're trying to get on, and they are saying, fuck no. So what Mike Johnson is saying, let's extend this shit. No, you told your people you was going to release it. No need to have all these fucking meetings that you're trying to prolong shit. Took all that time trying to get, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden. Took all that time trying to get him. Forever and a day. Saying, oh yeah, we're going to get him. We're going to get him. And he did this and he did that. They brought on everybody and their mama. And what did they come out with? Millions of our dollars wasted because there was nothing to fucking find. MTG was a part of that. Bringing photos of Hunter Biden in his worst moments. Basically showing, corn on fucking in the House, or in the Senate rather, in the House rather, showing corn. I'm like, why are you showing this? We don't need to see this man's private parts. We get it when you say he was naked in a photo, but her thing was to embarrass and prolong, to make news stories, to catch headlines, so that you can get off the fact that Donald Trump is a piece of shit human. These people fought for him. And what kills me, even Thomas Massey, when asked the question, do you believe Donald Trump is in these files? Well, I don't really believe he did anything. Shut the fuck up. We all know he did something. We just don't know to what extent he did something. You don't go trying to hide shit, going to interview the lady who's already been convicted of it, to have her say, he's always been a gentleman to me. I liked him. But at the same time, why don't you bring forth, if you're going to have this case, bring forth the prisoner that she was in prison with, that says that she told another prisoner in plain view that she was going to get out of prison because she was going to go ahead and talk to Joe Biden's people, and she's going to get out because she had some information that will get Donald Trump in trouble. Ask her. Put her out in the public so that we know exactly what's going on. Instead of just gaslighting us and saying, I don't believe that Donald Trump doesn't have anything. I know that they're playing a strategic game. I get it, Thomas Massey. I get it, MTG. You're playing a strategic game. You're trying to be the Trojan horse. You know you're not going to get anywhere if you say you're going after Trump. So you have to literally say, we're not trying to go after Trump. It ain't about Trump. When you know that in your heart of hearts, something's wrong with a man that is going so strong against the victims. So strong against the victims. Thank you, 5 for the donation. I appreciate you. They're going so strong against it. How do you go so strong against something about protecting people? Then you got to start thinking. Remember when Donald Trump was being charged over those 20 something, 26, I believe it was at the time, women. But it first came out, it was like 12, it was 10, it was really low. Then it went to like 12 and in the double digits, and it just kept going and going. And it stopped around 26 or something like that. Every time one came out, he called them liars. It's like all of them are lying and you're telling the truth. Not one of them has it. And then on top of that, the video comes out of him being on a bus, mic'd up, saying he did exactly these things to women, and they'll let you do it. But the thing is, they didn't let you do it. You just did it. And because they didn't fight, because they were scared of your power and who you were, they just let you do it in your eyes. And they know he has said he's done these things, and they still categorize that shit into locker room talk. I don't know what locker room he was in. He must have been in that pedophilia rapist locker room, because that must have been a locker room that was privileged to rich, deprived or depraved people. That must have been the room he was in. That's his locker room, because none of us has been in this fucking locker room. We don't know nothing about this type of locker room. We've all been in sports, playing basketball, anything from school when we played dodgeball. We didn't have to be no pros. We played basketball, baseball. We all have been in locker rooms, men. Not one of us has heard anything like this man. I didn't hear one person coming out saying shit like this except for Republicans. These people that are depraved, right? Not at all. I don't hear nothing from these people. There is nothing that we can even agree on that these people ever said, that us or ever said anything like that in any kind of court, any kind of locker room. Not one. I don't know of anybody. I've asked friends since this has all happened. I don't know of one soul, not one, that has ever been in that situation. There isn't one. She made it up. They say his wife came up with that shit. Made it up. And I have no idea how this shit came about. None. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a second. I got something that's happening in my house I got to take care of. Hold on just 1 second. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. So I've never heard anything like that ever being said in my life. In any courtroom, any gym or anything like that. Never. Whether I was playing for the boys club rather, YMCA, whether I was playing at school, high school, or we played in locker rooms in college, none of that. Never heard it. And the sad part is, no man has ever heard that shit coming out of a locker room. That's the only locker room that you've been hearing shit like that came from rapists and pedophiles. Maybe in jail. Maybe in rich locker rooms where they get whatever the fuck they want in life. Maybe they talk like that. But there is no normal human being that talks like that. And these people, I know they're helping out now with the ladies who have been assaulted and by these pedophiles, meaning Marjorie Taylor Greene and Nancy Mace and all these other people, but they still have no problem protecting Trump, knowing he's a part of that class. How many times do you have to hear a man say that he has in common with his daughter sex, that his child has always been voluptuous? I have never come up with the adjective of voluptuous in the same sentence with my daughter. You know that's sick. I know that's sick. Why the fuck they can't see it? I don't understand. Who does that? Who even plays like that if it was a play? It's not a play. It's quite weird. It sounds like a pedophile. Who plays like that? Nobody. But see, Donald Trump's game is, I'll tell you who I am out in open, and you won't believe it when somebody tells you that's who I am. That's his game. Donald Trump lets you know he has pedophilic mentalities. And by saying that, he disarms you into calling him one. You would never think in a million years that shit would work. But in order for you to figure that out, you have to be one and then walk away and be like, look, I get away with it. Look. Just like he says he walks up to women and grabs their vaginas and they let you do it. He walks up and tells you that he's a sick and depraved sexual assaulter. And America just lets him do it. He proves it every fucking time he opens his mouth about it. America just lets him do it. When is America going to hold this man responsible for the words that come out of his fucking mouth? He squirms right out of it. Every time he squirms out of it. I hold people at their word. This man has said over and over again some pedophilic shit. And I'd be damned if I'm going to sit here and excuse it. There is a girl, I think her name is Katie Johnson, but again, that's not her real name. She hasn't, it was her alias. 13 years old, she said it happened to her. These women that came out yesterday said, 14 years old, my 13-year-old friend brought me. We don't know how old that 13 was old when it happened to her. Because she was already out there doing the deed at 13. So that means she could have just got immediately hooked onto it, or it could have been she was on that for years. I can't imagine the first time, the next day she's going to get a friend. I can't imagine that happening because she would have to reconcile with whatever just happened to her. Going into a room, not ever having sex in her life, and coming out raped by a woman and a man. And the thing, what sexuality is she? I mean, think about how confused you had to be. You're 13 years old. You're not thinking about having any kind of sex. You're talking about massaging somebody to make some money because they knew you was poor and disadvantaged. And they bring you around lavish wealth into a building that's like, oh my God, you think you've made it. Even the grown women said that, oh, they saw this stuff that he had and was like, oh, they're going to introduce me to models, agents, and all this other stuff. So you promise them the world and then take them into a room and destroy everything about them. And then tell them that they can get anything from, not getting any more money to possibly going to jail. And if you rat us out, we might take your own life. There was one lady that said that they even threatened death to the maximum for them. If you say anything, we could kill you. Look at how much power we got. Took them on yachts and vacations with these little kids, 16 years old. Who's letting their 16-year-old kid run? Not unless it was a bad family to begin with. But you're 16-year-old. You're traveling to other countries. How the hell did he get them fucking not patents, but passports? Who has a passport at 16? You're smuggling kids into another fucking country. How are they getting in and out? They brought people from other countries to New York. How are they getting here at 13, 14, 15 years old? Their parents, not unless their parents are selling them. I don't know. I ain't going to put it past it. But I want people to look at how in-depth this shit had to be. Everybody keeps looking on the surface. Please look deeper than the surface. These women were trafficked. There were women. These girls, too, were trafficked. Children. You think that shit stopped? We've been trying to stop child sex trafficking for fucking years, decades. This is one of them that was huge in this country. And he had friends in high places. They said they was going to put a list together. And in that list, yesterday, Marjorie Taylor Greene said that she was going, if they want to give her the list, they will read it out loud in front of everybody. Now, here's the thing. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. But I don't think most people understand why they can do that, and there's no real threat to them. There's some MAGA nut threats, don't get me wrong. But as far as legal threats, because again, their biggest fear, these ladies, they when they mentioned that, and people who were lawyers around them said that if they came out with names, these people are rich and powerful, that they would get sued to oblivion if these things like this happened. So we get it, right? But today and yesterday she said it, but Massey confirmed it and said he would do the same thing. And he's going to give you a reason why it's okay for them to do it. If these ladies put this list together, it's okay for Massey and MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, to release these things without impunity.
Marjorie Taylor Greene stepped up to the microphone and said that she would release the list herself if they compiled it here in the Capitol, because we have speech or debate immunity. And then I talked to Marjorie afterwards about that and said I would be willing to do the same thing. So that's one way to get a list out there.
That's what they can do. Speaker, debate, immunity. They have immunity if they bring it up in the House. So if they read this when their 5 minutes comes up and have a debate with each other or with whatever witness they have, or even just bring it up there and they don't have to speak to the witness, they can just take their 5 minutes and just debate something, throw it on the floor. They're willing to throw on the floor with immunity these people's names. Now, I am not one to force anybody who's been through hell and like 10 times over in their entire lives. I'm not one to force you to say no names. But this right here, ladies, isn't out for y'all. Isn't out for y'all. I know we want the list, and that's something that we are going to fight and keep on talking about until they release it. But if you start releasing a name or two here and there and keep on adding more names every day, yeah, this list is going to pop the fuck out because it's going to be pressured. Are they lying? Are they telling the truth? We know they're telling the truth, but are they lying? Is it something that you can validate with documents? I'm telling you, you need to put pressure on these people. 100% pressure. Now, I told you I'm going to continue talking about this every time I go live. Why? Because until these things come out, I am not taking it off the top of the list. It is the number one thing that I care about right now. And until that is released, I'm not letting it go. It's going to be the first thing I talk about. Now, for the rest of us who, may not know what happened today, or may have, and I see you guys talking about it. We had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. speaking today, and he got his ass handed to him. I mean, they called him ignorant. They called him a charlatan. I don't think they said stupid, but that was in my head. This dumbass. But they said everything under the sun. And this is the crazy part. There were Republicans. Now, again, this is what bothers me, yo. This is what bothers me, is that Republicans can never, and I'm sure when it's a Democrat, Democrats do the same thing. I got to watch it. But I'm sure they do. But they can never just go at their party. Well, I see them actually go at their party. They may do it sometimes, but Democrats do go after their party. But Republicans can't go after their party without having to sugarcoat it, right? They come out and they're talking about, whenever they wanted to get on him about, let's say, vaccines or whatever it may be, they started off by licking Donald Trump's left nut and then all of a sudden say, well, why don't you believe what Donald Trump believed? And let me give you an example of that. Donald Trump was a president when Operation Warp Speed started. Okay. And so Republicans knew that the Democrats were lighting his ass up. They was yelling at him and all this other shit. You can hear RFK, his breath sound like he was fucking like an overweight Darth Vader. I mean, he was, what the fuck was all that shit? I know he's got something, but First of all, why is somebody with bad health the head of something about good health? I don't necessarily get that. I want my doctor to have good health. I ain't going to my doctor and he's sitting there, sick as fuck and just be like, no, bro, retire, put somebody else in. You gonna come in and tell me to follow you and you ain't following your doctor's advice? You just gonna sit there and be like that? All right. Now I understand that he may have a disease that he can't do anything about. But again, bruh, if I'm gonna be in a position of listening to somebody, I want to be around somebody who doesn't have an ailment. You feel me? I mean, I'm sorry, nothing visible. I don't want to come there and see you with leprosy and shit and tell me how to be, healthy. I'm like, yo, that ship don't sail for you. Taking advice from you is like taking advice from a dead dog on how to live. It just ain't happening. It's over for you. As far as being a doctor, if you are that sick, bro, sit at home and take care of your health. Quit trying to tell everybody else what to do, because obviously whatever you did in life didn't work. And we all have problems. But I'd be damned if I'm going to go to a doctor with major problems and he's going to tell me, well, you shouldn't take the vaccine. What happened to you? I didn't take the vaccine. Oh, okay. So you are the way you are because you didn't follow your doctor's advice. And now you want us to take your advice when you didn't take your own doctor's advice. But the way he acts as though he knows for sure that he took a vaccine and his life is the way it is. And I would like to just offer up something real quick to kind of like dispel that, Mr. RFK Jr. And all disrespect. Look at your family, bruh. All y'all got issues. That's genetic. I don't know if y'all married your own sisters and cousins. I don't know what it is. But in your family, you all had issues. Almost all of you had something. And again, you had a wealthy family. You guys had a storied life and all this shit like that. But you done had so many ailments in your family. It's ridiculous. So I don't think it was any vaccine. I think it was genetics for you. But who am I? We both could be right. Could be genetics and it could be something you took. But maybe it was that dog you ate or whatever animal that was that looked like a dog or something other than most people would eat. Maybe it's the worm in your head. And how'd you get that? Being somewhere where you shouldn't have fucking been. That might have been it. How about all these things that you did that were not like conventional? And then you want to blame everybody else for the choices you made in life. It sounds about wealthy white to me, to blame everybody and their mama when shit hits the fan for you. Instead of taking responsibility, maybe I shouldn't have ate that dog. Maybe I shouldn't have ate whatever the hell was raw that gave me this worm. Maybe I shouldn't have swam in the waters where they said these worms swim into your brains. Maybe I shouldn't have done all that shit. Maybe that would have been the situation. But you ain't blaming none of that shit. You trying to fuck over everybody else's life because you fucked over your own. How about you just take responsibility? Something novel. It's like, wow, it's amazing. You've been your whole life living around rich and everything, having opportunities. But how about you try taking responsibility and accountability on for size? Maybe you should try that once in your fucking life. Maybe you should blame yourself for the shit that you in right now, instead of trying to blame everybody and their mama. This man is constantly telling us that vaccines don't work. And where's your evidence that it doesn't work, bro? He never brings up a doctor worth credible for fuck. He'll bring up somebody, Dr. Van Dumbass told me that. Who? Who is this doctor? What credit do they have? Oh, that's the one that told you to take that horse pill medicine? Yeah. He knows what he's talking about. How? Who's taking the horse pill medicine fucking now? Nobody. How many people died from taking that shit? Many. Because it's not meant for that. They had people taking that hydrochloroquine or whatever the fuck it was. That shit was for malaria. Had no properties in helping COVID. None. Malaria. And other type of things. Even chronic arthritis, they even used it for it. But they just picked the fucking pill. Let me see. Close my eyes. Throw a dart. Bow. Hydrochloroquine. Okay, let's take that one. That's how y'all came up with this shit, because there is no study that shows, even to this day, that shit worked for COVID whatsoever. In fact, This is what kills me about this. They kept on trying their damnedest, Republicans, when they were talking to this dipshit, you know, trying to come at him. Well, we're not going to yell at you. We're going to be cordial. Yell at him because it ain't getting through to him no matter what. So they started talking about, oh, well, you know, Donald Trump did Operation Warp Speed, and I think he should deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. And I was like, right when he said that shit, I was like, shut up. I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, yeah, and it's also for lupus, rooted in Planet Janet. But it is not for COVID. And he kept on explaining to people, these people kept on explaining to him, rather, oh, Donald Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, I believe. And that line of questioning on the Republican side started growing. And even Democrats realized what they were doing and started saying that same shit. Let me be very fucking clear, okay? I want to be crystal fucking clear. Donald Trump don't deserve shit but prison, okay? He don't deserve shit but prison. Can I say it again? Can I get a fucking amen? Donald Trump deserves prison, not peace, Nobel Peace Prizes. I know you want some shit, Democrats and Republicans, and therefore you're willing to grease him up a little bit. But no, there will be no presidential BJs happening in this town for us. Americans don't want that shit. This man does not deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. These people talk about something. Let me break it down to you just in case you forgot, because this fucking country, I don't know if it's this country or if it's something in the water. I don't know if it's something in the food. I don't know if it's something with health-wise. I don't know if we have too much fat in our brains. I don't know what the fuck it is. But Americans, for some fucking reason, your memory span is short as fuck. Donald Trump did what with Warp Speed? That shit started under him. He tried everything to fucking destroy that it would work. Everything. These scientists came out. They were worn out. They were trying their damnedest to save our lives. They were going through all kinds of hell every day, waking up with tens of thousands of people dying because this dipshit went out and told us it was nothing more than a flu, and his dumbass people, his Republicans and MAGA dipshits literally believed that shit and was out in the stores throwing fucking tantrums because they had to wear a mask and stand 6 feet behind people. That was Donald Trump's thing. That deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Dividing Americans, that 1 million of us died. We were absolutely at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to handling COVID around the fucking world. At the very bottom. We weren't number one. We lost over 1 million people. Per capita, we were one of the worst countries to handle COVID. How the fuck does he deserve anything for that? And I don't blame Dr. Fauci for it. Why do I do not blame him for that? Because the other countries, they follow the same protocols as Dr. Fauci. You know the fucking difference between Dr. Fauci and us in this country end up having a problem? Donald Trump every day went out on that podium. Every week went on that podium, allowed his dipshit leaders to go out on that podium, brought in some doctors with some fake ass like white jackets and shit coming out there. I remember that woman from Africa or whatever country she was coming out there saying that these horse pill shits work. They had that campaign. They ran ads. Everything against that the doctors and CDC and WHO and all of that was telling America, this is what we're finding out. No, they did all that. Then they started talking about Wu-Tang. Well, Wu-Tang. It was coming from China. It's the China virus, the Kung Fu virus, Kung Fu COVID. Everything but could you organize together and say, Americans, we need to save each other's lives, wear a mask. All these other countries did that shit. You know how bad Donald Trump was? There were countries that was handling this shit way better than us. And then they started listening to Trump and a faction of their country that weren't American, but were part of that like racist, loving racist ideologies and stupid people shit, started going to in their country marching with Donald Trump signs in another fucking country, talking about against the vaccines and shit. That's what Donald Trump did. He divided people all over the fucking world about something that we should have all been united. Other countries united around it and handled it better. They governed better. Donald Trump fucked everything up. And were it not for our scientists continually coming out, even though they were being threatened because they were going against what Donald Trump's bullshit ass was saying, even though they were being told that they're not good, even though they had to get Secret Service, they wouldn't even give them Secret Service, so they had to get their own security guards, Dr. Fauci and the other doctors, because they would come out against Donald Trump, but they were trying their damnedest to be somewhat nice in the process. Well, we shouldn't be done. We should continue wearing a mask. We don't need to wear no mask, but we still should. 6 feet, blah, blah, blah. And then you got Republicans saying, well, that 6 feet stuff didn't work. The mask didn't work. The fuck if it didn't? Everybody just about I asked, I said, when you was wearing a mask, how many of you guys had a cold in the past 2 years? How many of you had the flu in the past 2 years? How many of your allergies actually kicked up in the past 2 years of having to wear a mask? This man right here, I can testify. My hand on the Bible, I had 0. Every year, I have at least 2 head colds. Every year, at least 1 flu. Every year, at least a chest cold. Every year, allergies that I take an allergy medicine, Claritin, 1 a day when it's allergy season. During COVID, I had none of those bitches because I wore a mask. So you telling me wearing a mask doesn't work? Man, in China, Japan, they wear them all the time before that. Yeah, America used to make fun of them. They see them on the bus. But you understand what they did it for? You might not want to understand this. Some of you Americans out there give a fuck only about you and yours. They wore them because they were sick. They had a cold. And they wore it to protect your dumb ass. And we sit here in this country, especially MAGA, couldn't throw on a mask to protect the elderly who come within 2 or 3 feet of us, 6 feet of us. You had no problems killing old people, killing immune deficient people because you didn't want to fucking feel uncomfortable. They may die, but you felt uncomfortable. This fucking country is so filled with people who don't give a fuck about nobody except what their sperm produced, what their eggs produce. They don't give a fuck about nobody else's egg, nobody else's sperm, and you sit here and act like, oh, help me. Fuck you. Why help you? You didn't give a fuck about nobody else. It was all about you. I wore a mask every time, even after we didn't have to wear a mask, because I didn't want to hurt anybody else. When I get a cold, I throw one on. Since COVID, I've had one. Why? Because just like Asian cultures, why not protect your neighbor? Why is it about you? If we had an outbreak that instantly killed people and we had to wear masks, you assholes will be out here like, yeah, you know, it ain't gonna hit me. And then when it hits you, you be crying. Well, I tried. There was a lot of you during COVID that died because you believed in that dumbass. And on your deathbed crying. We don't give a fuck that you was dying because you didn't give a fuck about nobody else. It's about time. When you don't give a fuck about anybody, when you go to meet your maker, which you will not see heaven because you didn't give a fuck about nobody but yourself, that's when you're going to realize hell is your best friend because you didn't think about heaven or humans while you were here at all. Donald Trump in no way whatsoever deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm getting tired of people trying to throw him one. He does not deserve it. I did a little research. In February 2020, with the virus still a rumor, so to speak, because we didn't close down until March 20th, I believe, 2020. It was still a rumor for most Americans. Because I remember, I don't know if y'all remember, when COVID came out, we were in denial. It was months. Do you understand? We didn't close until 2020, March 20th or some March 13th, 2020, somewhere around there. It was either 13th. No, my girlfriend, she got 13th. The following week, I got the 20th. That's why I'm looking the dates up. So March 13th, many people left. March 20th, damn sure everybody pretty much was gone except for essential workers. Do you know that? That was 2020. Why do we call it COVID-19? Because the shit was understand to be out there somewhere around November the previous year. Donald Trump knew about it back then. November, December, January, February, March. 4 months this thing was out there harming people, and they knew it was way worse than the flu. And they waited until people started dying before they actually told you what the fuck it really was. They knew in other countries where it was spreading, people were dying. And they didn't do anything about it. Donald Trump was lying to everybody in this fucking country. How does somebody who lies till people start dying in droves and then closes it down because he didn't handle nothing? Other countries were already shutting down before we did. They were shutting down months before us. We thought we were better than them, not listening to the science. Donald Trump was ignoring the science. How the hell does that deserve any kind of Nobel Peace Prize? Whatever country that got the best in COVID, that person may need one. But the fuck if this country needs one because of Donald Trump. Now, if it were me, I'd give it to Dr. Fauci. Why? Because this man listened to that piece of shit every time, get in front of that mic while he was standing behind him, and had to sit there with a still face knowing this man was lying to everybody. And when he knew that man was lying, he still got up there in front of Donald Trump. And with the grace of straddling a fucking fence, we don't have any evidence that proves what he just said. Nice. I would have said, this dipshit behind me knows shit about science. Stop listening to him. And because he felt like everybody was going to Dr. Fauci for information that he wanted to be the big leader for, he started a whole other strategy. Warp Speed started, and he created a background of destroy Warp Speed. Because all he did was say shit to destroy it, to have little faith in it. In February 2020, a month before they closed this down, before they closed the city down, the country down, the president was privately told it was deadly stuff. Those are his words. Donald Trump was told on tape, he said it. We knew in February that it was deadly stuff. So why in March, April, you never said that to anybody? The only person he said it to was a writer who came out with it. That was it. Everybody else knew nothing about it. The man who's supposed to be protecting us let our loved ones die without ever telling them that it was worse than the flu. I had people fighting me on every platform talking about it's just the flu, man. If you're fat, you're gonna die. Just get yourself in shape. I had so many people whom I thought were good business people I was dealing business with. I canceled that shit with the quickness because as soon as Donald Trump said that people who are unhealthy, blah, 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 and I'm like, dude, it could kill anybody. What do you mean unhealthy? There have been people who are skinny and in health and shape. What are you talking about? No, it didn't happen. Most of them overweight. They got some kind of precondition. I'm like, you don't care about Americans. What if you're a carrier of it, but you're not a person who actually gets the symptoms? You're not going to wear a mask to protect the person who is sick? Nope. I'm like, wow. Oh, wow. What kind of shitty human being are you? But that's the type of person that Donald Trump enabled. Remember when 9/11 happened, okay? Whenever we had tragedies, America pulled together. We were one of the strongest people to pull together. 9/11 happened, man, we pulled together. There was donations left and right. There was stories about it. There was prayers sent up. There was, all kinds of, never forget, every year celebrations for the lives of those people, everything. To this day, we still say never forget. There was a few thousand people that died during that. 3,000 something, I believe. 3,000. An enemy came here and took 1 million lives. And there were Americans, instead of bonding together, praying for people, putting on a mask and supporting other people's lives and coming together as a country, they had a leader that divided the country. They gave them permission to say, fuck everybody else's life but mine. MAGA can live, everybody else can die. And that you want to give a peace prize to. Those people, you want to be able to give their leader some kind of great faith. They're the ones who created crime, extensive crime in this country. They're the ones who went out and became openly racist to everybody. They're the ones that have proved to us that there are still bad people in this country, that racism is worse than it actually has been in motherfucking decades. But these people have been hiding in the closet. But Donald Trump helps them come out of the closet. Make America great again? No, they made America hate again and be happy about it. They feel free now. They're putting up monuments of racists and traitors to the country now. Let me put them back out there because we don't never want to forget our history. We don't want to forget our history. That was Pete Heck said. We don't want to forget our history, but at the same time in school, you're trying to extract history from it. You don't want to tell the truth. You got people out here rewriting history saying that, slavery, we learned to trade. But you want to go out there and put the racist person back up and say, yeah, they fought valiantly against America, not for it. The traitors of this country, you're giving monuments to. How about you give the ones who brought us this far monuments and keep those? But the ones who destroyed shit, the ones who hated on people, you want to give them a monument. When you're putting a monument back, that meant it was in a place before. You didn't destroy it. You put it in a museum. They can still go to that museum and see said monument and enjoy the history. It doesn't need to be out on the streets, whereas American citizens have to look at the people who raped, maimed, killed their relatives because of their skin, not because they were traitors, because they wanted to be free. So they got a gun and start killing people, own citizens, own Americans, because they wanted to keep black people enslaved. That's what you want to put back up. That's the pride, because there's nothing else they fucking did that outweighs that. Yet you want to find good in evil and then call yourself a Christian. It kills me when these people start off, well, God's name, and shut up. Get God's mouth out, get God's name out your fucking mouth. Because ain't nothing in you about God. Not a damn thing. Your words are trash. None of them have any weight to them. Only to idiots do they believe, oh, in God, I believe. Shut up. You don't believe in God. You out here talking about believe in God, but you have no problem with people dying. Not feeding the poor. Talking about pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I don't see nowhere in the fucking Bible where God decided, oh, you know what? Or Jesus in this situation. Oh, yeah, you don't have an ear? Well, then pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make one. Oh, really? No, you can't do that? Oh, okay. Where does it say in the Bible to do that? Oh, you need to eat? You need to eat? Then go out to the sea and start fishing. What the fuck you looking at me for? I ain't parting no sea and making, feeding people with one loaf of bread and like so many fish. Why the fuck I'm going to do that? Be a Republican. Do it for yourself. Oh, you're a Christian. Ain't nothing in the Bible, ain't nothing Jesus has ever done that is conservative. How can you be of Christ when you're the antithesis of Christ? Ain't nothing about you, Christian. You hate. God is love. He's the embodiment of love. You have hate in your heart. Everybody you fucking with, you don't care. You got human beings that happen to be brown in dog cages. That's not Christ-like. Christ was an immigrant. You care less about immigrants. If Christ was here right now, you would have threw him in a fucking dog cage, and you talk about being a Christian. I'm getting tired of these people, man. They use Christianity to get people suckered into believing what they believe. I don't know if you recognize it, but this past presidency and before then, churches are more evil than probably going to witchcraft place or something. I don't know if they're evil. I don't know anything about it, but just the idea of what we've said in history, what witchcraft was and evil shit and demonic shit, they're evil. Just like they have the face of saying, oh, I believe in Christ. And you go into their church and they're talking about hate. Everything that's coming out of their mouth is hate. Pastors screaming and shit, hateful. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, get the hell out of my church. Jesus accepted everybody. The homeless. He accepted those who had diseases. He accepted, how the hell do you say you're a Christian and you go into the opposite of what Christ would want? And yet always trying to throw the Bible onto people when your whole body should catch fire when you even say the fucking Bible. I'm like, read the thing you always profess and everybody else don't know nothing about. Because you don't know shit about it. You rehearse verses, but you twist them to make them feel what you believe. And there's no way that if God is love, the hateful shit y'all doing, that God is anywhere around you when you guys are speaking. You may bring up his name amongst 10 or 1,000 of you, but doing hateful shit, he never shows up. That's just your figment of your imagination. You believe that you, just because you have white skin, are closest to Jesus, and Jesus was a brown man. If you believe in that. It's just, it boggles the mind. It boggles the mind how anybody can believe shit they say. They lie about their own faith. You worship a false idol and you sit here and try to profess to everybody else like you're the best thing on earth. How? You don't even tell yourself the truth about what your own Jesus looks like. You had to make it look like you so you can feel superior. Just like everything else, it's fake. Alternative facts. It's insane. It's insane, these people. It drives me up a wall. Donald Trump fought against science. There is no way in hell he should receive a Nobel Peace Prize for destroying our healthcare situation, while the CDC, the WHO, Dr. Fauci, and others that were working with him fought like hell to give you the information that all these collective brilliant minds who have solved it or solved polio, who have solved all the measles and all this shit that they don't spend decades upon decades. We were dying at 35 fucking years old when we had no vaccines. You want to go back there? 35 years old was the max on our lives, ladies and gentlemen. Get that shit through your skull. Without vaccines, without science, 35, you'd be dead already. Your kids that are 30-something now would be dying in a year or two. These people are archaic in the brain. They care about dollar signs and not about people. Because if they cared about people, they believe in the science. They think that science is supposed to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. Your body and my body have a lot in common, but there's some differences. I may be allergic to peanuts and you may not have any allergies at all. And if you give me a vaccine that has even a little bit of some like nut variant in it, I may die. It's not because of the vaccine itself, it's because of my allergic or something I'm allergic to the vaccine. You can't get it through their skull. If the shit's working for 100 million people and one person dies, or even 100 people dies, it's not the vaccine, bro. It is something wrong with the person who took the vaccine that the vaccine does not help. Now, the vaccine could be like, wait, don't take it if you're allergic to nuts. You can sue for that, I get it. But when it saved millions of lives, and scientists and science says that it did, you don't have any science to prove it otherwise. And you guys got enough money to do your own studies. But you just want to negate the study. Get a doctor that doesn't like the study, but wasn't there when the study happened. wasn't called upon because they aren't learned enough. Many of them are not even in the field of vaccines that RFK Jr. is searching to get information from. He gets his information from people who aren't valid, like Donald Trump did when he was the president last time we had COVID. He brought in all those doctors with white coats, and like I think only one or two of them talked. And I remember the African lady, and you can listen to her and know that she was not all there, and she was in front. It worked for me. But where's the validity that it works? Could you have just gotten over it because it didn't affect you as much? You see how this really isn't a study? This is just your opinion? How many people did you study that did this, ma'am? She just offered up herself and talked about, I've done it before. That is not a study. That is nothing. And this is what these people believe in. Crackpots that have issues. And it's like, dude, I want my doctor to be learned. If my doctor's a dipshit, I want him out of the business. Because if he's not saving anybody, he's killing people. And if he's killing people, he's not really living up to his oath of doing everything he can to save his patients. Who wants that? I don't know anybody who wants that. And if you want it, then those badass doctors should be your doctor. And when your family members are dying off like it's a plague, and we over here chilling because we listening to people who have a fucking brain cell, go for it. Die off. I can't wait till you do, because this is some of the dumbest shit I ever heard, that people don't pay attention to science as if it's not a real thing. We all know it is. It's just people who get harmed by a certain drug or whatever it may be. You're allergic to it. I get it. I'm allergic to Vicodin. But many people I know swear by using Vicodin when they're in pain. The gist of it would be, if I'm RFK, I had an adverse reaction to Vicodin. It's a bad drug. We need to take it off the shelf. Really? Just you. That's what you think, because it was bad for you. That it's helping millions, and just like COVID saved millions of lives, even though we lost 1 million lives. You don't think COVID is good because you got a few people who have long COVID. I think it's like 2 million or something like that got long COVID, but the vaccine has helped them. It's like you're dealing with people who don't use all of their brain. And we don't all use all our brain, but I'm talking about the little that they do have. They're not using it. They're dealing with their emotions. They're seeing friends die and relatives die for reasons, and they blame it on the vaccine because they can't think of nothing else. Oh, they were healthy. Maybe you listened to the doctor and they would have told you healthy people are dying too, but you didn't wear a mask. And I don't have no skin in this game. My sister died from COVID. Listening to her church, God got it and all that, when she should have just listened to her common sense and wore a fucking mask. But no. These whack-ass people were telling people not to wear it, and then later on, just they try to prove, mask didn't work. I'm like, bro, mask worked. I don't care what anybody said. I didn't even have a cold or a flu, so get out of it. If a cold, flu, allergies didn't get through that mask to fuck with me for 2 years, I'm pretty sure COVID stood off a little bit too. Plus 6 feet distance. That was preliminary just so that you guys would stay away from each other, because they knew this shit floated for a distance. And you didn't even listen to that. And think about it. All they did to find this out, I'm sure, was they had to deal with COVID. They actually had to get that shit. Just like with anything else. You have to get the disease contained somehow. Get germs or cells of this shit. Right? Whether it's a mist or whatever. Get into a vacuum space and reenact how far a sneeze would actually put. And take this thing and shoot it out and see how far it goes before it falls. Before this shit falls down. They knew 6 feet, it falls. Kept doing testing. Oh shit, this new strand goes 12 feet. Scientific studies is simple for something like that. But no, these people couldn't gather that in their brain, couldn't figure that part out. And therefore, it is because of them 1,000,000 people died. It is because of Donald Trump 1,000,000 people died. It is because of MAGA 1,000,000 people died. And if we just listened to the science, we probably would have lost 500,000. And if we had got on top of it instead of Donald Trump saying it's going to go away once the season gets hot, around April, May, bullshit. And through that amount of time, from November all the way to like April or May, hundreds of thousands of people died. While he was going out every time, we lost 10,000, 58,000 people today. Well, we could have. The same dude. This is one right here, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to get off this shit in a second. Thank you, DJ. Donald Trump said, it was, I don't know what the number was. We lost like 50,000 or something like that deaths in one fucking day or whatever it was, something crazy. And he came out with some kind of press conference and all stuff like that. This fool said, well, if they stopped testing, we wouldn't have so many cases. These are words that came out this dipshit's mind, his mouth. And he thought about this shit and thought he got it right. This is how stupid this man is. He thought about what he was going to say. It was written for his dumb ass. And he literally came and said, if we stop testing so much, we would find less of the disease. Less people would have it. No, dumbass, we would just know of less people who have it and less people who are dying. We just wouldn't be recording the facts. We would be hiding them. Who wants to offer that dipshit a prize? Again, this white privilege shit, I'm telling you, I'm fucking fed up with it. They want to give him a prize for being fucking mediocre. And he ain't even mediocre. He's beyond subpar. I mean, mediocre is mid. This man is below mid. I mean, he is like beneath subterranean stupid. So far down. The bottom of the ocean, dumb. There is no hope in this man. I don't understand how they see it. But again, they're so caught up with power and money. Take the power and money away. Donald Trump is a dipshit to me, rich. Take the power and the money away. This man is on the street eating rotten apples for his life. He is not bright whatsoever. This man would be in jail for either robbing somebody or stealing something because he doesn't have the wherewithal to survive unless he's cheating or stealing something. Donald Trump cheats in golf tournaments when he don't have to. He still cheats. There are people who say Donald Trump can golf. I'm like, okay, but he still cheats. Which tells you he enjoys cheating. Even if he doesn't have to. If he didn't have money, he would steal and cheat. He's doing it while he's rich. Stole $500-something million from New York people. And he doesn't have to pay it back. If you owe the government $50,000, they getting their 50 grand or you going to jail. Ask Wesley Snipes. His was more than 50 grand, but his shit was 15 million, I think it was, something like that. Donald Trump was 500 million. This dude did not see one day in jail. 15 million. Wesley Snipes went to jail for some time. 500 million. Donald Trump ain't seen the inside of a jail, and they told him he didn't have to get the money back. Pure trash, y'all. Just pure trash. The man does not deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. None whatsoever. He deserves prison. And did I say that, that the Epstein files need to come out, like now? Yeah, I think I said that. If I didn't, I just said it again. Donald Trump has been losing cases left and right. Thank God that we do have a judicial system, and he's been basically trying to get the Supreme Court to weigh in on his cases, at least one of them, and he's trying to bully them into making a decision. Understand that the Supreme Court does not have to take up a case. Donald Trump has been considered to be doing illegal deeds, especially like the with the Harvard case situation. It came out that that $1 billion fund that he took money from, they find that to be illegal, and they also that the fact that he used an anti-Semitic like strategy to do it. So that's a good thing to hear. I don't know if they're gonna get their money or not. I don't know, but it's against the law. Deploying into California, that case came through, is against the law for them to put military people in places as police in a state in the United States. Washington D.C. is now starting a lawsuit within itself they're claiming that it's illegal what he did. Hopefully they'll win their case. Everything Donald Trump has done as far as a president, these tariffs, all that, illegal. And all this stuff has been allowed by the House and the Senate Republicans. They just sat back and let it happen. And the architect behind it all is Russ Vought. Russ Vought told Donald Trump and everybody this shit was legal. Russ Vought is the part that put the Project 2025 together, and he is the one who has been writing all these executive orders, the hundreds of them that's been out there. He is the one through strategic ways of making it happen, one after another. He is the one that's been doing this alongside Stephen Miller and all these hateful ass white dudes. They have been doing this entire fucking time. Donald Trump can't read. These things are too difficult for Donald Trump to even comprehend, okay? These people are running it. Donald Trump is hoping that they do the right things. But they're doing the hateful things, the disrespectful things, the alligator Alcatraz. It's illegal. Everybody has been either deported or moved out of that particular location because, again, it's not up to code for anybody to be living there. No prisoner, no dog, no cat. Hell, the alligators might want to take up a lawsuit and get the fuck up out of there. But reality is, it's not the place. And the crazy part about it is they're trying to figure out how they can sell it off or somehow. I'm like, you built a prison camp with a bunch of tents and some fucking like generators in the middle of a fucking swamp area where alligators roam. Water doesn't really work worth a damn. The food has maggots in it. They didn't get baths. Toilets backed up. And you want to sit here, and mind you, ladies and gentlemen, this shit cost them $400 million to put together in a matter of weeks. $400 million is now illegal and they can't have it. It is something that is wrong that they should not have done. And the judges have said to get these people out, and they had so much of a time to get them out. And they got them out, I guess, already. And I don't know exactly where all of them are at. But before this judge, weighed in on this, they were planning to make another one in Florida. Same thing. That one, I guess they thought it was full. I don't know. I've never been there before. That they were talking about creating another one that was going to cost $200 or $300 million. I'm like, dude, they follow the money. Because these people, there's no way in hell that little tent city that they had was $400 million worth of nothing. Like I told you, you can build a skyscraper for a couple $100 million. From bottom to top. One of the tallest skyscrapers, you can build one for less than $400 million. You telling me tent city cost them $400 million to do? Follow the money, please. Somebody need to be in jail for that. Somebody needs to be in jail for that. There's no way in hell $400 million of our tax dollars went to that. Because remember, the state fronted it, and it's supposed to be the federal government that paid the state off. That's why they moved on with it. I would really like to know for not California, but for Florida, did Trump ever give y'all $400 million? Or were you ass out? Because I got a feeling you probably was ass out, Ron DeSantis. Because $400 million you're supposed to get reimbursed by us, the federal dollars. I don't understand why we giving it to you. We cutting out schools, Department of Education, and we building prisons. And you guys think you're better than your ancestors. Shit. Your ancestors were openly fucking racist. Your ancestors did the shit out in the fucking open. You guys are doing the same type of shit and acting like it's something different. You're not like your ancestors. You're worse. They were out in the open. You could see it coming with them. With you, you've learned from them, and you want to go back to where they came from. That's why it's Make America Great Again. The only time America was great was when racists owned people. Because other than that, there's no better time where you've had better health. Back in the day, you was dying at 35. You're living to 80. It's better now. How is it greater when you were dying at 35? There's nothing greater in the past than in the present. You may be able to say music, because there was a time when we created stuff like jazz, blues, R&B, hip-hop, rap in the past, and now we ain't doing nothing regurgitating shit. This type of generation, what, mumble rap? But it was still something of rap. There's no reinventing anything. They played instruments back there. They tap danced. They did the banjo, every instrument. Now, I can guess that was something that was good, better. But the treatment of people, hell no. You guys are taking us back there, but before Donald Trump came into office in 2014, 15, when President Obama was president, I remember everywhere I went, white people, Latin people, all people alike were happy about this country, felt hope. They would quote an Obama speech. I promise you, every time President Obama spoke, I mean, the ratings were off the fucking chain. We would listen to it from beginning to fucking end. And after that, we'd be talking about it. Did you hear when he said this right here? He put his thumb out. And I ain't talking about just black people. I'm talking about good people. Republican, Democrat, all alike. It was the hateful pricks. The ones that hated that the fact that a black man was leading them. Those are the ones that were making all this shit. The Mitch McConnell type people. The Donald Trump people. When President Obama lit into Donald Trump during the press award show, whatever the hell that is, and he had this little thing when he went in on Donald Trump. Oh man, that was the talk of the town for like, it still is. If you tell people about it, but I remember when he was ripping Donald Trump with his little pompadour, little fake hair, just bobbing and shit. All but hurt. Wouldn't smile for shit. Everybody around him, even at his table, laughing at his ass. Yeah. That's when this country was happy. We had hope for the future. We all still had problems, shit, but we had hope for it. We had a president that delivered on health care. Even though racist and hateful ass people, it ain't gonna work, it ain't gonna work. And then it did. Guess what would have happened if you just got your ass behind it at the very beginning? Right now, our health care would probably be astronomical. Probably one of the best health care programs in the entire fucking world. But no, we got the dissenters, the one who don't give a fuck about nobody. They wanted to destroy it all. And they did everything to make President Obama a one-term president. It didn't work. He got his second term. But Mitch McConnell and all these hateful ass people were still there, and they controlled the narrative. And Donald Trump, President Obama, after he took office, the idea that these people hated him and walk around with efficacies of President Obama with a noose, President Obama's body or whatever, and a monkey on it. All these types of protests that they had of racist people in this country. Those people are the ones who are running the country now. We allow those people, because so many people in this country, even some who say they aren't racist, decided to run with the racists. And I'm getting tired of that shit too. If you're going to tell me you're not racist, but you do the same thing as a racist, how are you different? If a guy runs and says, you know what, I'm going to cut taxes, but you know what? We're going to have to put those N-words back where they came from. You be like, I don't believe in that, but I get the taxes. But you know his plan is to fuck around with N-words, but you gonna care about the taxes? Then you're the same as him. Even though that N-word may not come out your mouth, it's in your heart because you care about money more than you cared about those people who were brown. So don't tell me, spare me if you voted for Trump. Not all. This is another statement I can't stand either. Not everybody who voted for Donald Trump's a racist. Yeah, they are. I'm going to say it right now. You voted for Donald Trump. You're a racist. You have racist tendencies. You may be in denial. You may have a black friend or two. You may have one of the coons, like best friends of yours who believes that you're right. I'm going to tell you right now, racist as fuck. And I don't care who says it. You can put it all over the fucking world. You can repost this, do whatever you want. You're racist as fuck if you voted for Donald Trump. And even if you are black, Latin, Asian, you have racist tendencies. You believe in racist ideals. Because if you're going to think of a tax cut over somebody treating black people or people of color like fucking dogs and throwing them in cages, you're racist. And I'm not someone to hold my tongue. Fuck all that. You guys can do all that wimpy shit. I'm going to tell it like it is. 100%. Tell me how it's not racist. Please. If the KKK is going to go hang somebody who's black and you say, I believe in, what you believe in, but then we ain't got to hang the black person. And then they hang me and you just sit there and watch and don't stop it. What the fuck are you? An innocent bystander? Come the fuck on, man. Getting tired of y'all acting like you ain't a part of something because you didn't actually go to the hanging. You didn't stop them. And when it comes to MAGA, you're not stopping them. You're a part of the fucking problem. These women, children who were raped by these pedophiles, okay? If you're not for the women, you're for the pedophile. If you're saying the women, all of them are lying, then you're saying the pedophiles are telling the truth. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. None. Yeah. Now, I'm going to address some things that you guys have said. I think was a rude interplanet Janet. I see it says, no candidate is perfect and will align with you on all issues you do, but Obama's drone strikes hit a lot of innocent people. I don't recall all the details. I like Obama, though. I miss him. Yes, I don't agree with everything that Obama did and things I didn't even know that he did that I found out later. I agree with that. I don't agree with everything that he did. I don't think in anybody's life you agree with everything he did. In my life, I don't agree with every decision I made because I done fucked up in my life and I did great things in my life. Now, I ain't saying I ever did anything that unalived anybody, but you have to put yourself in a position. If you're empowered to have to do something like that, it's kind of hard. Like, you got the information to do it from whom? One of your military people who said this is going to happen, and you do your due diligence, but you're only as good as the general or whomever did the research tells you. And if they tell you this is what's going to happen, you got to make a decision. I'm not validating it. I'm just saying it was wrong. And I would, if you asked him, I don't know what he would say. I don't. I'm pretty sure he'd take responsibility to some degree with it. Maybe, try and obfuscate just like other politicians do. I don't put it past anybody. But again, for instance, with Donald Trump, when Obama did these strikes and stuff like that, there were many people that went after him for that. Republicans went after him for it in many ways. A lot of people held him accountable for it in many ways, protests and things of that nature. I want to know what people are doing, and it's not like a whataboutism. I'm just saying is those things happened, and rightfully so, they should have happened, because that's what American citizens should do, hold their leaders accountable. I'm trying to figure out why people aren't talking about this Venezuelan ship that they bombed, saying that it was carrying so many drugs and had 11 people on it. It was a little bitty ass ship. You telling me that the ship that shot that torpedo or whatever it was that blew them up, there weren't more men on that ship than that little baby ass ship that you could have just pulled up and said, get off the plane. Get off the plane. Get off the bus or boat. I'm on every damn piece of transportation. Get off the bus, the plane, the scooter. Get off the boat. Stop the boat. Shut off the engine. You tell me you couldn't do that? You had to blow their asses up. That shit didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense, and they haven't justified anything. And Marco Rubio's out here gaslighting because it's like, we're not gonna bring this drugs into our country. I'm like, let's be real, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be real. I'm gonna tell you right now, because I wasn't born yesterday, and I don't think any of you guys were born yesterday either. Right? As George said, planes, trains, and automobiles. I went everywhere with it, but I have no problem making fun of myself. But when you look at this, I want you to understand, I wasn't born yesterday. That baby ass ship where you just saw human beings and maybe you could go underneath or something like that, I doubt it, but it looked like it was just a little ship. You know what I'm saying? It carried 11 people. Okay? Ain't enough drugs on that thing to do shit to nobody. Now, I understand a little small something can last a long time or can kill a lot of people. I get it. But that little ship, we've gotten more drugs than the size of that fucking ship in trucks in this country. Coming from countries, Mexico, or even in planes in the bottom of them with more. Or in these carriers off of ships, way more than that. We've obfuscated many drugs just in California alone that were bigger than that fucking ship. And you telling me you gonna blow somebody up for that small amount of drugs? And you're trying to set an example of what? You want to start a war with Venezuela? Because you have no information to give anybody yet on why you did it. And people need to put their foot on their necks about that too. Why'd you do it? That was not enough drugs for you to have to blow it up. You could have arrested them and put that shit on your ship and drug them to any kind of prison. But you chose to kill them in the most egregious way of blowing somebody up. You don't know if they had their kids on that thing. You don't really know if that was the actual boat that had the drugs on it. Where was your intel? Where'd you get this shit from? If they had bombs, maybe. But they're carrying just drugs. That's something that you could have arrested them for. And I don't understand this, again, MAGA. You guys were the ones who were against wars. You were the ones who were all against pedophiles. Remember your Pizzagate, which turned out one whack job went to the place and there was no basement in the place in which they said it was a pedophile ring in the basement of a pizza place. He went there with a loaded gun and shit, and there's no basement. At that point, you didn't know that you was fucking being, suckered by QAnon, but that's okay. You still kept going with that shit for years about Democrats and the cabal of drinking blood and all this other shit. Ain't never had an ounce of proof, but you believed it. Then you hopped onto this thing about Jeffrey Epstein, which all of us wanted the information from Jeffrey Epstein, but you guys made it seem like it's only Democrats on it and we got to get him, Bill Clinton, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so if it's Bill Clinton, get his ass. If it's a Republican, get their ass. If it's independent, get their ass. If it's somebody who don't even vote, get their ass. I'm straight. Most Americans were that way. But you guys were the loudest because you guys were always blaming Democrats for it. And you wanted Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. You wanted them so bad. They're like the boogeyman to you. I don't know what it is with Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and George Soros. These people are batshit crazy about these people. They hate them so much. And I'm like, as far as politicians, they did a lot and they did something bad. As far as human beings, her husband did something bad. It may have done something worse. We don't know. Find out when these Epstein files come out. And so when we find that stuff out, but these people are so enamored or just, I don't know, freaked out. And I ask you, go research George Soros. These people got the boogeyman on George Soros. I want you to understand something. You know that there are by far more rich people, billionaires on the Republican side that are the equivalent to George Soros. They had the Koch brothers, one of them dead right now. They just added on Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, all of these whack jobs. I don't understand. And there's many other ones. There's many of them. There's another one, I forgot his name, but he's in I think he's in Texas or something like that. He was in oil, really huge guy, big billionaire, Republican side. They have put more money behind political shit in different PAC organizations, collectively more than Democrats have ever done. And they sit here and go after George Soros. Why? Because they want to destroy the only man that has fought for anybody other than white men. George Soros is the man who gave millions of dollars to Black Lives Matter to help out. And they tried to demonize Black Lives Matter because of this by saying it was attached to George Soros. They say Gavin Newsom is funded by George Soros. And it's like, okay, but what has George Soros ever done that you guys think that he's a boogeyman? And you go to look at his life, George Soros has been just like a hedge fund guy forever. And he's funded a lot of the things in which Democrats, me and you citizens, like, but Republicans don't. And the things that the bills that we have loved to pass, that we voted for, a lot of it was funded by him. Now, don't get me wrong. Billionaires are always looking for their best interest. But like I said, and I think you could kind of agree with me, is that you're not going to get everything you want out of some of these people. But at least there's one group of people that give a fuck as opposed to zero fucks. If you can get one or two things out of them, it's better than zero. Republicans, you get zero out of them. They tell you they're going to give you a tax cut. You get a $600 check back and you're excited. And it's supposed to boost the economy. It never does. So they never fulfill the promise. They just fulfill your little instant greed. Oh, I got $600 back. What you going to do with that? Put that $600 back in there and pay off our fucking debt so our kids can live. That $600 ain't going to do shit for you. But collectively, it can start paying off our debt so that what? So that we won't be in it. So that other countries won't own our debt as much as they do. So that America can be independent to some degree and not relying on other people. So that our dollar stays strong because we're taking care of our bills. Maybe, if you want to talk about American power, maybe you pay off some of these people that own us. Nope. They don't. They keep borrowing and never paying, giving tax money back so that people can waste it, but never paying off your debts. What would have happened to you at home? Every time you got your paycheck, instead of paying the bills, you went out and gave money to friends. There you go. You go out there and create a job or something. Here you go. Like, pay your fucking bills. The hell are you talking about? You get your paycheck and just hand it to people. That's tantamount to what they're doing. When we have excess, they're just throwing it to everybody. But we don't have excess. It's in there, but we owe money. If your bank is full and you owe more than what you have in the bank, you broke. You were cash poor. Because if they call their money in, you can't pay it. That's this country. If China, Japan call their money in, we fucked. It just bothers me that people just don't know the simplicities of that. It's not like it's really hard. If you owe somebody money and you ain't got it, you broke. Even if you got $100 on you and you owe somebody $5,000, you may think you got that $100, but you still broke. It is what it is. And our government needs to start paying off these debts. It used to be that we cared about our future. We cared about our kids. We literally said, let's pay down the debt. Let's balance the budget. And Republicans never want to do that. As far as I've been alive, Republicans always want to give you money back without paying for it and call that conservative. I call it crazy. I call it crazy. Because if you don't pay off your debts, this country is fucked. And here we are in the double digit trillions. I think it was last 37 or something like that, $1 trillion in debt. We're paying an astronomical amount just in interest. We ain't even touching the fucking principal, yo. How can we be number one and we owe in China and Japan interest payments? Not principal, interest. We're paying them trillions of dollars in interest. Jesus. I don't understand it, y'all. But yeah, I get it. What you had said earlier, 100% rooted and pandemic. Let's go ahead and answer some more things before we get out of here. First of all, I want to thank all the donations. I appreciate them. Go over them again. It's been $5 Alarm Fire. Thank you for all the donation. You gave me a $100 donation. Man, I love that. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. 40 memberships. Thank you. I appreciate that. $5 Alarm Fire. Out of curiosity, how was it? Our hospitals were struggling to get PPP during COVID, but Trump made sure that Putin had his. Boy, I didn't even go. I had a whole list of things. I made a whole list of things that this man did against our country instead of for it, and that was one of them. This man, when we were running out of masks, this man sent masks to Putin for their protection while we were running out. Never mind the fact, oh boy, never mind the fact, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if that was too loud for y'all. Dr. Fauci and his team, President Obama and his team, the vice president at the time, get my throat. Joe Biden, excuse me. I think, well, she wasn't part of that, but just leave it at that. They had a speech given by President Obama that he literally said that we're leaving the next presidency with a not a list, but it's kind of like a list, but a packet that has all the information and what they need to do for future pandemic that we may have, that we think is on the rise, that we may end up having in the next few years or so. But we have left them this packet that gives them the information of all the stores that we have and what needs to be replenished and all these different things, everything they needed to know. This guidebook. You know, when Donald Trump came in, they threw it away and said we didn't need it. And then when we started to have a pandemic, they act like it wasn't there. And then when the pandemic hit and everything started just going haywire and everybody needed to get a mask and it was telling us the N.O.M.A.D or whatever the fuck it was, the brand was the best and everybody was trying to get it. We had shortages. Doctors needed their they had the whole entire body gear type of shit and they had the N95, I think it was, mask and some other plastic thing. They were running out of them. And this man sent them to Russia. We were depleted, and then tried to blame Obama for not being prepared. For an epidemic. When it was on tape that Obama, Dr. Fauci, CDC, left him a guidebook, a handbook on what to do and what may be coming forward, and they left them fully fucking stocked. Donald Trump did not replenish it. His people did not. They dropped the ball. People start dying in other countries. We only had a few instances here. They knew it was coming our way, and they did nothing. It's just unfathomable that we went through all that and people are still trying to act like this man deserves something other than prison. And then another one he said, but MAGA, the Five on Fire, can slap a sticker of Biden being duct taped on the tailgate of their trucks, and that's all good. Yeah, yeah. Had Biden duct taped to the back of a truck, and it was okay. Not only that, they had another one that was in some kind of parade, or it was on the side of a truck or something like that, with all of them behind bars. Biden, Obama, Hillary, others. I don't know if it was Bill Clinton, there was somebody else in there. Had them behind bars, arrested. For what? And it was okay. It was some of the most wildest crap I ever seen to this date. And you can't say that Donald Trump is a crook without everybody flipping out, acting crazy. It's like, what? He's a criminal. He's a rapist, according to a judge who said that the sexual assault that he performed could be considered rape. I don't know what to tell you. You support a rapist criminal. Sexual assaulter. I mean, grifter. He took money from a 501c3, which is a nonprofit, and bought a painting or so of his own embodiment. Thousands of dollars. I think it was like 10,000 or more than that. And this money's supposed to be going to his children's fund or whatever. And he ain't in jail for that. He had to pay restitution of some millions of dollars or something like that. Had to shut down a nonprofit and wasn't able to have another nonprofit in New York City. Crook. That he would even rob children. If he was robbing children, what makes you think he wouldn't be raping them? The 13-year-old woman, she's a woman now, but child at the time, accused him when she was a woman about what happened to him. What happened to him? What happened to her? That's her. Look, I believe her. Because as soon as she brought it out, she ran. Because why? Same reason I believe that the lady dropped her case against Alan Dershowitz. The fear of power fucking with her. I would check her phone lines or try and find the person in which said that Alan Dershowitz did something, because I guarantee you're going to find either some money or some phone calls that was given to her for her to drop her situation. Because again, for you to bring somebody out takes a lot of balls to do, as we saw these women did. And then they get that pressure because she was all alone in her situation, because it was just her, those two, and she was by herself. Ghislaine was probably somewhere nearby. And she ain't going to validate it. So it's pretty much her by herself against these three powerful people. Understand, Ghislaine Maxwell had been rich her entire life. Her dad was a rich crook as well. So she didn't fall too far away from the nut hairs of her dad. Okay? I'm just saying. Just go back and research it. Jay's Collectibles. Yo, you are so right. I forgot about that. Remember how he charged the governors for medical supplies? Now, why does this man deserve any kind of prize? Nobel Peace Prize for this shit. Rude Implant just says, I am Social Security disabled and I should not be forced to pay those back. I am so worried about that. Pay what back? Is this about the student loans during that time, or is there a problem? I'm not sure. Oh yeah, the student loan stuff. Yeah. I mean, Joe Biden was helping with all that stuff. Again, you got to understand, to be able to reinvigorate our economy, we have to take the burdens off of certain things with people. I had to pay all of my college tuition, all of it. I didn't get any help. But I don't care about what other help people got, because if it had been there for me, I would have snatched that shit up. And if it looks like that's what we need to do to be able to move our economy along, I have no problem with it. They give $400 million for a fucking Tesla vehicle to be armored. It's a piece of shit vehicle. And that's not the only thing this man is getting hundreds of millions of dollars for. So to break off 500 billion to pay off the debt so that people can start making money and creating opportunities for them and their families, I ain't got no problems with it. I know some people who might, because if like I had to go through it, it was a different time for you and me. It was a different time. My ancestors went through a lot harder shit than I did. I had it way better than them. And I guarantee you, none of them, if they were alive today, would have wanted me to go through the hell they went through. So if there's any kind of options today to be able to make life better for American citizens, as long as it's not prejudicial, racist, sexist, or whatever, and only like one particular group gets it, I'm fine. I'm fine. It ain't gonna hurt me none. I have to pay taxes regardless. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, helping the people in this country. If we got it and we got to pay our taxes because we're doing it, it's already been paid. It's out of your pocket. And every once in a while, some of it's going to come back to you, either in tax breaks or some kind of subsidy. Because when you start making more money, you start buying more things. And when you start buying things like homes, your first home, you get so much money that tax write-offs and shit, you get money back. A person owning an apartment or being in an apartment 10 years, right? And you owning a house for 10 years, they're getting back, if they're in an apartment, they're getting back nothing for their place of living. You have a house, you're getting back tens of thousands of dollars every year because of the fact that you own a house. You can write things off. You have a better opportunity. They have none. It may seem unfair, but that's how it is. What are you going to do about it? So when people get advantages, I can't sit there and hate on them for that. If they're going to pay off your loans, so be it. If I were going to get them, I'd get it. I'm not one of those people to make everybody go through the life that I led. I want people's lives to be better than mine was. And not just my family's. If your family works hard enough in that the next generation, they should be better off than the generation before. They don't need to go through the same thing I went through. That's not the goal. It shouldn't be. We should want a better life for our kids, not the same life as ours. That's just my 2 cents on it. All right. Yeah, Jen James. Obama had a whole infectious disease task force and Trump dismantled it. He dissolved it. And then complained like Obama had something to do with it. Like, no, bro, that was you. That was 100% you. You got it, Five on Fire. No doubt. No doubt. I'll probably have some free time on sometime Saturday, maybe. Saturday or Sunday. Give it Saturday or Sunday, because Saturday I may have some plans. It may fall through. I don't know. But Saturday or Sunday this weekend, I'll try to hit you up. Right, DJ? You paid yours too. You paid yours off. I paid. Oh man, my shit was a lot. It took me less than 10 years because I was aggressive on it. But had I just paid the minimum or paid just whatever just the minimum, I'd probably be still paying it. But I ended up paying mine off pretty fast, under 10 years. I would say a good 6-7 years, because I had 2 really good jobs at one time, and I took one job salary and just paid off my debts. That whole year's salary was like, I pay off my debts with that, and the other one I lived off of. Kept that job for a while to get a savings, and then I quit. I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself for money. I ain't gotta do that. What Jorge says, he says Republicans destroy the economy to then turn around and say that they cannot fund the programs that they depend on, that people depend on, like food stamps and Medicaid. Preach, Jorge. It is so true. Like I said, the Republicans never really create any program that helps anybody other than white men, and I mean like wealthy white men mostly. If you are mid in the middle class area, like you'll get help to some degree, not all of them. If you're poor and white, you ain't getting shit. You get treated just like black, Latin, other people of color. You may have a slight advantage, but you still ain't getting out of poverty with the shit they do for you, or at least give you an opportunity for that. And through healthcare, it's just insane. They never want to help people. And I just heard, I think it's Andrew Sorkin or something like that. I heard him today, which I didn't know this because I really didn't really. I don't. He's a money man, and I don't study what he studies. Of course, that's his profession. But he was talking about Medicaid and Medicare and healthcare and all stuff like that. And he was saying most people get mad at the healthcare company. And I haven't done any homework on this because I'm not. Don't take this verbatim from me. But and he said, I guess why I got to do research on it because I never thought of it. He said that a lot of the healthcare, if you work for a company going up, is your employer more so than the insurance company. And the I think it was Ari Melbourne or whatever said that asked this guy Andrew Sorkin. He said something to the effect of, he said, well, how would that work? And so they broke it down. He broke it down saying that employers, they go to get health care for their employees. So if you work and you got an insurance plan, they go out and search to the insurance plan to be able to offer you. Their thing is to say to them, we want basically the cheapest health care you can get that's healthy, for my people, blah, blah, blah. Like the basic, whatever rules they have to go through. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of regulations. The bare minimum that they can give is probably not the lowest thing, but still, they're trying to get as low as possible. And these people will give them the particular plan. And in that plan, they end up having you pay more. The company ends up paying less and you pay more. So that's why he says that it's mostly the employers that are sticking it to their employees. Not to say that healthcare insurance companies don't do shit. It's not saying that they don't do it. It's just the fact that they get all of the credit for it. And many people miss out on the fact that the corporations that you work for are skimming the shit too. They're paying less and having you pay more. And therefore getting the insurance where the insurance company may raise a little bit. Instead of the company covering for it, the company keeps what they were paying you probably before and have you pay the difference. So that, he said, and I didn't know that. I didn't really find that out when I was looking through my documents and things like that. Good night, Demetrius. Take care, brother. Take care. All right, I'm about to get out of here myself. Let me give some love to everybody in the room. I didn't do it the past couple times. Oops. All right. Appreciate you, Five on Fire, Jorge. Appreciate you. I know you got to get out of here. Azure, thank you. I'm a member. I see what you're saying. All right. Rudy and Planet Janet, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. DJ, as always, much love. Appreciate you. I said that. Dennis Petro, great episode. Enjoy the content and facts you bring every night. Thank you, Mr. Straight Facts. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate you. Deborah, did any send ventilators to Putin? Didn't he send ventilators? I think he did send ventilators to Putin. He sent some. He sent a lot to him that should not have went to him. We needed stuff. Our hospitals was out, and he was like, "Oh, well, we got more than enough." And I remember we put so many different hospitals up in certain areas. I know New York did, Mayor Cuomo, that didn't last for as long. It got dismantled pretty soon after. I don't know why that was. I can't remember why. Probably was told, but I don't remember why. Hey, Catherine, how you doing, Kate? Social Security increase next year is 2.6. I'll be a whopping $25. That the Social Security part. But there's a lot of stuff that, like I said, insurance for those people who are, on Obamacare, up to 6 million. I think it said 4 to 6 million people will have increases December 31st. So keep an eye on that. If you're on that type of insurance, keep an eye on it, because in 4 to 6 million people will have an increase. And I ain't talking about no baby increase. it may be anywhere to $400 to $600 more than what you're paying. Depending on if you're single, it may be $400 to $600. If it's a family, it may be astronomically higher. Depends on it. You go check out what kind of subsidy, premium subsidies you were getting prior, and realize that that premium subsidy is no longer going to be, at least for 4 to 6 million people. I don't know how many people are on it. I don't know how they're going to select the people, because I would think more than 4 to 6 million people are on it. But that was the estimate. So I'm not understanding how some people are going to lose it and some people aren't. They haven't went into detail. But keep your eye on that if you do have it. I see a rude. Vera, I see you. Thank you, Vera. Being a member, I appreciate that. Who else we got? I'll make sure I give a love to everybody. Let's go, let's go. That's here. I see Jen James. Who else? Oh, that's it at the very top. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to let you guys get up out of here. Have a great night. Be safe. I'll see you tomorrow around the same time, which is getting closer to 6 o'clock now, Pacific Standard Time. Don't try and do that, but usually by the time I get off and get everything that I've been thinking about all day in my mind, what I'm going to mess with, and I want to cheat you guys out of the conversations that I want to have, so I get the research and video and so forth. So it's going to take me to about that time. I try to get on at 5:30, but it goes towards 6 o'clock. So keep looking out for your boy. You know where I'm at. As always, you know, I speak facts, straight facts, no chaser. I ain't going to say the fuck your feelings, because I don't feel like it today. I just want to say, I see you when I see you. You guys take care. Much love.